Hello and welcome to another Roblox tutorial. So in this video, you will learn how to detect when one part touches another part using events in Roblox Studio. So in order to detect when parts touch, you have to use something called an event. An event is something that sends out a signal when specific things happen in your game. And in order to demonstrate events, I'm going to create a part in service script service, and we will check when this part's touched. And one thing I'm going to do is move this part a little bit above the base plate down here and set anchor to true so it does not initially touch the base plate. So now I'm going to create a script in service script service. And first thing I'm going to do is define my part. So local part equals workspace dot part. There we go. And so each instance in Roblox or object, whatever you want to call it, like this part, has events attached to it. So the one event we want to use for our part is part.touched. Now with this event, you can do many things. The first thing we're going to do is wait. And what this is going to do is until the part is touched, nothing past this line of code will run. So this statement will wait until our part is touched, and then it'll continue on. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to add a print statement, part touched. If we run this, you can see nothing happens in the output, but right when we jump on the part, it says part touched. And this is a one-time thing, so if I touch the part again with my character, nothing happens. And the next thing you can do, other than this wait, is connect the part.touched event to a function. So we could do part.touched connect function. There we go. So the reason you would do something like this is if you want a function to fire every time an event occurs. So every time the part is touched, this function will fire. And another way you can format this is if you don't want the function to be made in line without a definition, name of the function, you can get rid of it and do, let's do this. Let's paste it right here. We could call this function, I don't know, on part touched. So here we go. This is another way to do it. And make sure whenever you define your function outside of your connect statement, you do not want parentheses inside of these parentheses. And so we can print in this function part touched with connect. So if we run this, you can see when we fall on it, it says part touched and then part touched with connect. And you can see every time we touch it, that little number keeps on going up because the function keeps on firing. And there's another cool thing you can do with these functions that are connected to your events, and that is get event data. So event data can be used with each attached function. And in the touched case, the event data that you get is the part that was touched. So this would usually return maybe the player whose player's leg or something, whatever part is touching our part. So we're going to print the part.name now. So we jump on, you can see in the bottom right in my output, it's giving all of the parts inside of our player. So if I go to workspace, Sir Ragelot, which is my character, you can see all of these parts are being triggered in here, which you can see whenever I touch them, that happens. So that works pretty well. So that is a basic way to detect when parts touch in Roblox. But there's one more thing you need to know about events before you start using them in your game. So whenever you encounter a situation where you want to connect a event to a function, but then later you want to disconnect it, there's a way to do that. So what I'm going to do is define a variable right here, local connection. And I'm not going to set this equal to anything because what we're going to do down here is connection equals part dot touched. So what this will do is this part dot touch connect will return the connection of this event. So the connection between this event and the function on part touch. And whenever we want to disconnect our connection, we go connection disconnect. And so in order to demonstrate this, let's wait 3 seconds and then we'll disconnect the connection and it should no longer print the part.name. So let's try that. So we're stepping on it. We're stepping on it. It's been 3 seconds. Oh, and look at that. No events are firing. Or the event is firing, but the function is not firing because we disconnected it. So this is super useful if your player or something is in a vehicle and you want like a touched event to occur while you're in that vehicle or something, but then you want to disconnect it once they get out of it. So this works super well. And by the way, the reason I do local connection up here and I don't just say local connection equals part.touch is because what you can do in this situation is, let me show you. So if you have a function made with the connect statement right here, and let's get the part, you can disconnect the function from within your part dot touch like connect whatever function you connected here. You can only do this when you define the local connection outside of the actual like statement right here. So I could do connection disconnect right here. So if I don't know, wait 1 second from after it happens. This will probably error since it will disconnect. Actually, no, it didn't. Okay, that's interesting. But you can do stuff like that where the function right here can disconnect itself, which is pretty useful as well. And so yeah, that's a basic overview of events. These are very, very useful. Some other examples of events are with the player service. So let me define the player service real quick. Game get service players. Some events with the player service are player service dot player added, and this you can connect this to a function where you can define the player. And by the way, when you're making functions like these, make sure you have your closing parentheses right here as well as the two parentheses for your function and like the beginning parentheses because it is pretty hard, not hard, but it's not intuitive to set up like this. Roblox does not help you whatsoever because it thinks like you're trying to do some different things when you try to like enter it. Okay, but in this situation, whenever the player is added, you get the player and you can do whatever you want. Goes the same with player service dot character added and yada yada. So that's pretty cool. And this is a basic overview of events. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment any questions down below. I use these so often in my games. They're so useful, especially for the part.touched and using the player service events. And even when you get to things like bindable events and remote events, which are some interesting topics that I may cover in a future video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a nice day. And goodbye.